A World Cup final is the biggest match of a player's career, but the pressure on that stage can also lead to the worst performance of their life. And in every final, there was one player who ended up with the lowest rating on the pitch. So in this video, we're gonna look at the lowest rated player from each of the last 8 finals. All to answer one question: who had the worst performance in a World Cup final? Starting with 1998, when France beat Brazil 3-0. So you'd probably expect the worst player to be one of Brazil's defenders, but it was actually a striker from the winning team. France's forward at that World Cup was a guy called Stephane Guivarc'h, but he still hadn't scored a single goal in the tournament. The fans were criticizing him, so the final against Brazil was his chance for redemption. But in his first real opportunity,
chance for Guivarc'h!
If France lost, that mess would haunt him forever. But before halftime, Zidane scored a header. It was a relief for Guivarc'h. Then, just before the break, Kahn played a long ball, Brazil's defense completely messed up, and Guivarc'h had another clear chance. But he hit low, almost straight at the keeper. A chance that didn't look like it was gonna come again. But in the 63rd minute, Cafu headed back and gave it to Guivarc'h to be 1-1 yet another time. However,
mistake there, Guivarc'h! That's been the story of his World Cup. Chances, but misses.
After that, the coach had seen enough. He told the substitute to warm up and to Guivarc'h off. It was a disastrous performance, which earned him a 5.5 rating on Sofascore. We will see who was the lowest rated player from every other final, all the way through 2026. Will the French striker end up with the lowest rating? Now, if Guivarc'h came into the final under criticism, the next guy came into it as the team's best player, but it turned into a nightmare. In 2002, Germany reached the World Cup final thanks to their goalkeeper, Oliver Kahn, who made incredible saves in every match. Because of him, Germany had conceded just 1 goal before the final. So when Kahn was asked about the pressure of facing Brazil, he said, "They still have to show they can beat me." He was calling Brazil out. Then the final kicked off and Kahn saved 2 shots from Ronaldo. They were both easier saves, but it looked like Kahn was going to come out on top, until
he wins it back again. This is rough.
It looked like an easy save for him. But
Aldo, it's been slipped by Kahn, and following up,
the biggest mistake Kahn made in the entire World Cup. That was a huge blow. And just 10 minutes later, Brazil created another chance and Ronaldo placed the ball into the corner before Kahn could even get close. It was the match he conceded the most goals in that entire World Cup, with one of them being directly his fault, finishing the game with a rating of 6.4, a match he would do anything to forget. Now, 4 years later, the final was a completely different one. Italy against France of Zidane and Henry. It was gonna be a tough match for Italy's defense, and one of the players responsible for stopping them was the fullback Zambrotta. But just 5 minutes into the game, he did something that left everyone confused. He abandoned his position, pushed forward, and committed a foul, earning himself a yellow card. From that point on, he had to play, knowing one more foul could get him sent off. So Zambrotta went into every tackle, afraid of giving away another foul. The French players noticed it, and in the second half they kept attacking down his side, until in the 53rd minute, Zambrotta missed the ball, and the French players immediately called for a penalty. That would have turned his performance into a complete disaster. But there was no VAR, so the referee didn't give it. The match continued, and France's winger kept winning Zambrotta on dribbles, but even though he got past him, he couldn't get past the rest of Italy's defense. So the match stayed level, it went to penalties, and Italy won. But in 120 minutes, Zambrotta didn't make a single tackle, was dribbled past 3 times, won just 1 aerial duel, and picked up a yellow card, finishing with a 6.2 rating. But so far, nobody has managed to surpass Guivarc'h. Now, 4 years later, we arrive at the 2010 World Cup, where the final was Spain against the Netherlands. And if there was one player Spain was counting on, it was David Villa. He had scored 5 of Spain's 7 goals of the tournament, including the winning goal against Portugal and Paraguay. But just 2 minutes into the match, he was caught offside. Then moments later, offside again. He looked nervous, until in the 11th minute, the ball found him, but he fired it into the side netting. However, when he looked closer to score, Villa started to disappear from the game. The ball just stopped reaching him. He needed to make a bigger impact, so in the second half, he came with more intensity. But he was still completely isolated up front, and whenever he did receive the ball, he was offside. It wasn't a great match, But then it came the chance that could have changed everything. Jesus Navas crossed, and right in front of Villa, the Dutch defender made a huge mistake.
Navas now, edge of the 18-yard area, Navas across,
For a striker who had already scored 5 times in the tournament, that should have been the easiest goal of them all. However,
a chance for Villa here, how did that not go in?
A missed chance that could have cost them the entire World Cup. But Villa didn't want to give up. He sent a free kick wide, then tried a missed volley, and later had another shot blocked. At that point, he still hadn't managed a single shot on target. So the match went to extra time and
Gas with Iniesta, and in here there are so many. It's Villa!
it simply wasn't his day. So at halftime of extra time, he was subbed off. In 106 minutes on the pitch, David Villa finished without a single shot on target, missed a big chance, and killed 5 attacks by being caught offside. He was so isolated that he completed just 11 passes in the entire match. At least one of those passes led to a teammate's shot, so Villa finished with a 6.3 rating. But because Spain ended up winning, Villa's missed chance wasn't remembered that much. However, what happened in the next final was never forgotten. It was Argentina against Germany in a match filled with tension. But early in the first half, one play could have decided the entire game. In the 20th minute, Higuain chased down Boateng, who had the ball but Neuer cleared it. Higuain was slowly coming back when, out of nowhere, Germany gave him a gift.
Oh, that's a terrible back header.
It was the best opportunity he had all tournament.
The path of Higuain, who should have opened the scoring.
That's a chance a number 9 can never miss, and look how far wide they went. He couldn't believe it, but he kept his head up. Until just 10 minutes later, Lavezzi crossed and Higuain finished it into the corner. It was his redemption. However, the flag went up. Another massive disappointment. After that, Germany closed down all the spaces, leaving Higuain completely surrounded by the center backs. In the second half, the coach moved him toward the right wing to give him more freedom, but he was caught offside again. Then on another attack, he completely missed the ball when trying to shoot. He was struggling, but everything could have changed in the 55th minute.
Higuain has seen the goalkeeper come.
Neuer's knee slammed straight into his face. Every Argentine player called for a penalty because of how violent that was. Winning a penalty would completely change his night, but the referee said play on. That only made things worse. By then, Higuain was exhausted and could barely make an impact. So in the 78th minute, he was subbed off, putting an end to his performance. After he wasted a huge chance and scored a goal that was ruled out, Higuain didn't manage another shot in the entire game. He also completed just 12 passes and was caught offside twice, finishing with a rating of 6.3. And because Argentina lost the final, the missed chance still haunts him to this day. Now, after Argentina was let down by its striker, the next final was a goalkeeper's nightmare. In 2018, France faced Croatia, but Croatia's keeper walked onto the pitch injured. Subasic had suffered a thigh muscle injury in the quarterfinals, but chose to stay with the team. He was nowhere near fully fit, so Croatia's biggest priority was making sure France didn't get many shots. But then, in the 18th minute,
Flicked in by Griezmann and flicked on! And France take the lead in the World Cup final!
and known goal. There was nothing Subasic could do about it. After that, Croatia tightened up defensively and even equalized with Perisic. But then the very player who scored the equalizer handled the ball inside the area. Penalty for France. Now it was time to Subasic to save his team, but he guessed the wrong way. 2 goals conceded, still no saves. Until in the second half, he finally got involved. He caught an easy shot from Griezmann and then saved a shot from Mbappe. But just when he looked like he was growing into the game, this happened.
Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba! Pogba!
Watch the goalkeeper's movement. He starts going one way, changes direction, and the ball ends up right where he was. But even worse came 6 minutes later. Mbappe fired a shot and Subasic took too long to react. On a normal day, he probably would have at least touched it. But because of the injury, his movement was clearly limited, making him slower to react. At that point, the match was already over, and the only thing left for him was another easy save from long range. So in the end, he made just one save that was more difficult and conceded 4 goals. The most goals suffered by a keeper in a final since 1970. So he received a low rating of just 5.9. but at least Subasic stayed on the pitch for the full 90 minutes. Now the player in the next final was so bad he didn't even make it to halftime. In 2022, France and Argentina took the field to fight for the trophy. And one guy who had become a key player for France was Ousmane Dembele, who was still playing for Barcelona at the time. But just 2 minutes into the match, everyone could tell something was off. He received a single pass and miscontrolled it. Even worse, on his same side of the field was Di Maria, who was constantly creating danger. That meant Dembele had to keep going back to help conceded defensively. But it didn't take long for things to go wrong, cause in the 20th minute the ball found Di Maria and conceded wasn't there, leaving Dembele 1-on-1. So the outcome was inevitable. Di Maria dribbled him with ease, and when Dembele tried to recover,
Di Maria away from Koundé. He's gone to ground. He's got a penalty.
a clumsy foul from behind. So Argentina got a penalty and scored. Everything was going wrong, but Di Maria kept giving him trouble. Dembele couldn't help defensively. Then soon after, Di Maria scored again, 2-0. Now more than ever, France needed Dembele to make something happen in attack. Instead, he lost the ball away as well. So Deschamps made a drastic decision. In the 41st minute, he took him off to bring on Kolo Muani, the earliest tactical substitution ever made in a final. It was a disastrous performance, and the stats tell the story. Out of just 17 touches, Dembele lost possession 7 times. He also lost all 5 of his ground duels, was dribbled past twice, and gave away a penalty, finishing with a rating of 5.7. Who would have thought that just a few years later he'd go on to win the Ballon d'Or? Now let's move on to the 2026 final of Argentina again versus Spain. Because of Spain's style of play, everyone knew Argentina's midfield would have a difficult job, especially Enzo Fernandez, who was lined up as a defensive midfielder. But when the referee blew the opening whistle, he got off to a promising start, receiving the ball from his teammates and giving passes. But after that, Spain started to take over, and Enzo saw less and less of the ball, just playing passes to escape the pressure. On top of that, he made just 1 tackle and lost 6 ground duels for the ball. Also in attack, he simply disappeared, completing just 7 passes in the opposition half. But it wasn't just him, the entire Argentina team was struggling. However, when he reached the 82nd minute, things got even worse. He went down in a challenge, but the referee didn't give the foul. So he protested, waving his arm at the referee, and picked up a yellow card for complaining. Now he had to be careful. But just 10 minutes later,
More than any goalkeeper in the history of the World Cup final. And collision between Enzo Fernandez.
He's gonna be off.
with that he received his second yellow card and was sent off. That left Argentina with 1 man down, which was crucial for Spain to score in extra time. So Argentina lost and Enzo Fernandez ended with the lowest rating, 6.0. He had a poor game, but according to Sofascore, the worst rating of the last 8 World Cup finals still belongs to the French Guivarc'h. That one is hard to surpass. So what did you think of this video? If you enjoyed it, I think you're gonna like this one too. Thanks for watching and bye.